What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we are going to take a look at the mighty Thor from everyone's favorite movie, Thor Love and Thunder, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I will put the link down below. It was sold out for a while and it's on waitlist. Big Bad always has this random restocks, some drops. Right now, as we speak, there's Mark 46 that's been long sold out, and it just happens. I don't know how. There is a Obi-Wan special edition that's been long waitlisted, and they have a ton. So go ahead and check them out. I'll put the link down below. But you might be asking, why in the world would I pick up Mighty Thor from Thor Love and Thunder? And that is a great question. Well, I like characters like this. If you followed my channel for a while, I like picking up things that people normally don't. I'm probably the only one who reviews Enter Bay, at least one of the mainstream ones. I review Asmus, Star Ace. I always find this figure and Ant-Man, which I haven't picked up yet, and Shuri on the back end of what I wanted to get. But not on the front end. Of course, I'm going to get the figures that I always wanted, the John Wicks and all that stuff. They're kind of like more of a... I didn't really love the movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't love the movie. But I'm always fascinated with how it turned out figure-wise. And I always thought that this Shuri were amazing figures that was kind of pushed in the back because of, the reception on the movie. Although I think Black Panther is pretty solid compared to Love and Thunder. But nonetheless, I picked this up and I wasn't wrong. The figure is a very good figure. A bit expensive, but very good. It's more on the higher side. I think this was announced when on the height of like Hot Toys, where everyone's just going crazy. We have, like stimulus money or something like that. So that is when it came out and Hot Toys capitalized on the pricing, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because if you compare this figure to, this is what, $325? Compare this to Sabine, which I also reviewed. There's a little bit of price difference, but at the same time, they both have rolling eyeball system. And I can make an argument that what Sabine comes with is a lot more than her. Now, licensing, likeness, that's a different story. Natalie Portman might be expensive, but just as I'm talking about as a figure, what it comes with, kind of doesn't make sense. But it is still doesn't take away. And we'll talk about the accessories here. She comes with, not a whole lot, but as much as you can ask for a character like her. This hands right here, kind of like she is calling back Mjolnir. That's one of the hands that you're probably gonna use. And you got the Mjolnir holding hand for both hands, left and right. And that is it. She got fisted hands on her. You're probably going to get the fisted hands, tuck it away, and have it, forget about it for eternity. Because, she's not punching anyone. So you're not going to use that. Mjolnir is pretty cool. The lighting has it hasn't changed from Endgame Captain America. Well, it's a bit different in sense that this is the broken one from Hela when she broke it, while the Cap, he went back in time to pick up that Mjolnir, so that one's not broken. So, and then you got this beautiful Mjolnir effect as well, where the pieces are kind of just moving forward, and you got the lightning effects, and it does, when you hit it with a UV, that is pretty cool as well, which I'm gonna show that to you later on. But this is nice. This is very nice. You put this aside. We put this aside here. And now, one of the big ones, and I always liked, I would say, when a figure comes with a second head sculpt. And this one does, because there's a helmeted version of Mighty Thor, which we're going to expand a little later on as well. But it's always a welcome addition when there's a second head sculpt, because it changes the look. And then for the stand Mighty Thor, it does have that the printing in there. And then you got the waist grabber that I would never ever use. Armor. We'll talk about her armor, her outfit. It is pretty solid. The pants, I hope they are not pleather. I hope not. but it does feel like it. There's elements of this figure that kind of scares you. You know, the pleather aspect of it, you can see all over the figure, from the pants, under the armor right there, with it. If you were in a humid place, I'm not sure if it's pleather or not. I'm not a pleather, expert, but it does sure feel like it. But let me know in the comments if it's not, if it's one of those rubber that just feels like one. It does aesthetically looks good, functions pretty well. You can see the shin armor that converts into her high heels. She can't, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm not pretty good at making female stands with some heels on their own, at least. The hair is sculpted as best as you could ask for, but you can see, because it's kind of sharp, it is sort of digging in to her cape, so you get this micro, I wouldn't say a tear, but some things that are just pulling from the fabric as well. That her, I don't know, skirt has some sort of wires on it. It does flow a little bit, but not that much. And the cape itself has some wires, and it's pretty good. I don't know. I don't think you need a custom cape for this, unless you really want the drape one. With her head sculpt, so this is the exact head sculpt from the unmasked version. I'm not gonna give you nightmares by removing the helmet, because you would see a bald Natalie Portman underneath it. But I can tell you it is the same. They just shaved off the hair. They did that so you could, if you get the special edition, you can swap out the faceplate of this mask to the battle damage one, which is, unfortunately I wasn't able to get. I could have gone on the wait list, but this was available, so it's like, all right, I mean, how many times am I really gonna use it? Probably not that much, but it's still nice to have. And you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the hair of this is a bit different from the unmasked version. This one flows in the front, not as obstructive as the unmasked. When you kind of cover some of her face, I would say the likeness gets lost a little bit. So now, this is not a good, I guess, representation of it, but this is the biggest quality of Natalie Portman picture from that movie that I could get. But in hand, I'm gonna tell you right now, she looks like dead-eyed, and that is on me. But the likeness is pretty solid in hand. The light is not helping. You can see there's a harsh shadow on the side of her face. It's hard. I played around with the light, but I want to just. She has Natalie Portman has a very nice skin, pretty face as well. And I believe it captured here nicely. The hair, without being rooted hair, it's hard to replicate this long of a hair without looking like a toy to a certain degree. But I think they did their best. I wish the front has more layers on it, meaning separated hair to simulate kind of like Thor. When they did Thor from Love and Thunder, he has some strands of hair that are separated from the hair itself, so it kind of gives you that vibe that there's different strands. But here it looks like it's just one big lump of hair, which is, it works, but I think it kind of takes away from the realism, especially from this angle facing. I wish there was a little bit more separation. That's it. But overall, I'm okay. So articulation, of course, because of the hair, you're gonna have some limited mobility, even though it is pliable, which you could apply out the hair. You still have some limitations because of this in the front. So even if you pull him down, you can't look down further. It is going from side to side, but just be careful of that hair. Now, she can do a T-pose with her hands because her shoulders are separated from the body, so it's not like Wonder Woman. So you can raise the arm forward. This is a pretty good bend for this type of figure with a silicone arm. And the silicone arm is fantastic, by the way. You can see the muscle definition in there. It is not the silicone arm that they used back in the day with like Wonder Woman. This is the same material for, I would say, for Bane, which is amazing, and also for Thor. So this is this is next level right here. Now, the torso, you can't really crunch her all that much. You can compensate with the legs. The legs are a bit restricted as well, as you can tell. You could move the knees, left and right there, but obviously there's a bit of a restriction there. The ankles does pivot side to side. It moves around as well. There is some thigh swivel, and also bicep. It doesn't. Obviously, as you can see, it's one solid piece. That is just the give and take that you're gonna get if you don't have a visible joint, which in this case I fully support that. So as you can see here, she can raise her hand, and it's safe to leave her in this position for a long time. It is, because as I mentioned earlier, the shoulders are different. Does have a joint. You can't see it fully, but it is safe. Now her elbows on her left hand is a bit bent, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot of stress within the arms. So I would say this type of pose would still be a pretty solid pose that you could leave her for a long time without worrying that you are gonna tear apart her silicone arms. So that's the beauty of this figure. Now this pose, however, I would not suggest that you leave her for a long time. This is more of I'll take a snapshot of the picture and then you go back to a museum pose kind of look. You could do this, but it's at your own risk. And this is the problem as well with, and I hate it, when you have you can see from it's bunching up on her cape. I mean, we already have a bunch. I'm sure this is not going to be your first figure. Please, Hot Toys, if you want to give us this flight pole, at least give us a crotch grabber, so the cape at least could freely just drape downwards. Because even if I don't want to use the waist grabber, this is normally how I use it for my figure, on the leg or on the arm. But as you can see, the long pole just obstructs the cape. And this is the effect that I was talking about earlier. It doesn't light up, so I am shining it with a UV light, and it gives you this kind of like lighting effect without batteries on it, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. And this is not the UV. As you can see, it doesn't show violet on her. This is a different type of UV light, a bit more, I guess, stronger. I don't know, made up that word, but it's different. And here she is with Thor, again from Love and Thunder. It's my favorite Thor in the collection. Might not be the best movie, but I would say the best Thor out there. I could also switch the arms to the silicone arms, but I don't know. I just kind of like this look for now. And then here they both are with their helmets on, and I think they look pretty great together. I think they go great hand in hand. Looks pretty cool, like the Thor series, all of them. Maybe not Love and Thunder. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of Ragnarok as well. I just want Thor to be back to this badass being like he is in Infinity War. Hopefully we can get that type of movie anytime soon without being boring. Final thoughts on the Mighty Thor. I think it's a pretty solid figure. I think it's pretty good. Are we gonna see her again? Maybe, maybe not. Spoiler alert. She died, went to Valhalla. I heard from the comic book readers that she is going to be a Valkyrie. So maybe that's a thing, that's going to be the next iteration of Jane Foster. So this might be a one and done type of figure. And if you hate the movie, then don't get it, because it's just going to be a reminder of something that you hated. But if you didn't mind it and you're a figure fan, let's just say you're a figure fan or a comic book fan, why not, right? Like, why not? I know there was a third party of this that came out long ago, and that was, that was praised. That was, it was taken pretty good by the community. But if a third party can have that, that type of reception, I don't think you're going to be disappointed as a figure with this, knowing what you already know about the movie. And knowing that let's say you hate it, but you love the character, you like the comic book iteration of it, why not just go with this, right? It's available. It's by Hot Toys, so you know the quality is going to be there. But again, if you absolutely hate it, don't even do that. Don't punish yourself and pay $300 for it. But yeah, let me know in the comments, how do you feel of this as a figure? Are you certain you're not gonna get this because you absolutely hate the movie? That is fair. That is fair. I totally understand that. But let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. How's the head sculpt? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.